client make about $1 million in 1 month from one event.
How did you do that?
So the secret sauce in all our offers, this is why we're able to sell offers at $17,000, $30,000, $55,000, even $100,000 offers, because of this one component. We build our offers with, as we started to serve more, we ended up earning more. I didn't hit my millions until I helped my clients hit millions. That's where wealth comes from. People do business with who they know, like, and trust. The fastest way to build trust online is to leverage live video. Webinars are designed to encourage people, and they're designed to destroy limiting beliefs. I did webinar, and by the time I looked up, we had made multiple six figures from one webinar presentation.
David is a webinar millionaire.
The Jewish community in the US, they are 4% of the population and control 40% of the wealth. How is that possible? It's not because of any other factor than the mindsets they're taught from childhood. It doesn't say money makes room for you, your gift makes room for you.
But how do we discover the gift, though?
Oh man, that's a great question. So,
welcome to Connected Minds podcast. My name is Derek Abaite. And I'd like to say thank you to everyone that made it to our British Council event. We have more in stores for you. And if you have not put yourself in the Academy group, you can go to www.connectedacademy.com. This is for entrepreneurs and aspiring entrepreneurs who want to scale their business, make more money, and be a lot more happier. Now, today's conversation is with David Simmons. David helps people make money through webinars and their personal brand. So stick with me. If you have a business across Africa and anywhere in the world, and you're thinking of how you can scale your business, make more money through your words, your brand, whether it's on Instagram, TikTok, or YouTube, this man can help you do that. I'm going to ask him some tough questions that will allow him to expose how he does it. He's helped entrepreneurs make six-figure days. And I'm sure you want to make that much money as well. Hey, David, how you doing?
my brother, it's such an honor and a pleasure. Thank you for having me on.
And thank you so much for coming all the way from the US
Absolutely.
to our event.
Yes, sir.
And helping me put together my presentation to make sure that it delivers exactly what I wanted to deliver. Thank you.
Truly an honor, brother.
Thank you. You've given me too many tips. I think, I owe you a lot. So whenever you're doing an event, please let me know, and I will come as well.
Oh, that'd be a pleasure. An honor.
So, in simple terms, what do you do for entrepreneurs?
In simple terms, what I do is I help speakers, coaches, consultants, and experts have six-figure days, meaning they make over 100K or more, using virtual events. Virtual events such as webinars, 5-day events like challenges, anything online. They don't have to go on a stage in person. They can have it all happen from the comfort of their home online.
What's the most you've helped an entrepreneur make?
We've had a client make about $1 million in 1 month from one event.
How did you do that? Take me through the steps.
So in that specific case, what we did was we had a challenge. It was a 3-day challenge for that one. We did a 3-day challenge, and in that goal of that event, we had a few leading webinars to kind of promote the big event. So we used the smaller event to kind of rally up support and get everybody excited. And the offer was around AI, right? So we helped everybody get to this event to learn about what we were going to teach them on the main event. So it was kind of like a precursor event, right? A mini event. And as we did that, we got, if I remember the numbers correctly on the top of my head, we had around 4,000 or 5,000 people come to the main event. We had maybe around between 10 and 16,000 people registered. And it was a phenomenal success. Actually, we sold about 300K of the offer before the actual event, right, hit. That's why, so we actually had a $700,000 day, but $300,000 was made before we got to the full event where we made a $700,000 in sales. And the offer was a $1,000 course, and then there was an upsell with the coaching program, which made it $4,000. And that's what we did with that client to help them get to $1 million in a month.
Wow. So if I bring you back down to home,
Yeah.
there's an amazing YouTuber that has 1 million subscribers on
Yeah.
YouTube.
Right.
Tell me exactly what you're going to do for this person to be able to monetize that brand?
Wow. Well, first, that's exciting to me because we've never worked with someone with 1 million subscribers yet. So, the first thing we're going to do, right, is find out all the assets that we have in house. We're going to find out what email list do we have. Do we have a good sized email list? Do we have I'm going to get technical here, and I'll probably break down some of these things.
Yeah.
Do we have a nice retargeting audience if they've already been advertising on Meta using Facebook or Instagram? We want to see the awareness through the pixel. The pixel is a piece of code that you add to a website to capture data. It's kind of like taking a photo and never forgetting who you've taken a photo of, right? So we want to find out exactly how much data we have, right? We want to know emails, numbers, names, any data that we can gather. And once we know what we have, okay, let's assume that somebody with 1 million YouTube subscribers, they probably have at least a list size of 100,000 on their email list, right? So that's the first place we're going to start. We're going to start with our warm market. I always teach any client or any person, we want to tap into the warm before we go into the cold. Warm means they're familiar with your brand, they're used to your message, they're cognizant of what you do on a certain level, and they're more trustworthy to buy what you have to offer. Cold, it means they may not be as aware. They could have some awareness, but not fully aware of what you have, what you do. And in that case, we want to use specific advertising, specific angles that we're going to use to reach. Because the same way, it's like this, the same way you would talk to your family member is not the same way you would talk to a stranger on the street, right? So warm is that family member. You talk to them differently, and you need to approach the messaging for the cold audience in a completely different way than you would a warm audience. So now that we've got an inventory of what we would need, we got 100,000 email. I'm going to put some assumption numbers here. Let's say we got a retargeting base of technically 500,000 people, right, that we've been able to reach there. That's on Meta. Now I'm going to go to YouTube. Because YouTube, you have 1 million subscribers. What you can do is now you can just go to that whole audience base. A lot of YouTubers don't even know this, that you can remarket to that entire subscriber base. Every single subscriber can get retargeted, but you want to be cautious with this, right? You don't want to market this I'm gonna try not to be too technical here, but you don't want to be in the in-feed ad, right? So in-feed, this is where people are scrolling through their YouTube and they see your video. You don't want your ad, if you have a base of that size, you don't want your ad to be on the in-feed, because what will happen is YouTube will see, hey, you're trying to play the game of using your followership and using the ads, and they'll try to push down your organic, right? So you don't want to lose your organic reach. So because of that, this is what you want to do. You want to make sure that you're on those ads that are in the side. They're not in your feed and not in your YouTube feed. This is really critical. I've seen brands lose a lot of their organic reach by messing this step up. So do this with caution. So what I would want to do is have the side where the YouTube ads are. I want those to be the ones on the side. They're not in the in feed. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use advertising there to draw people to my event. I'm going to have an event. What I would lead people through is I'd lead them to a webinar. The reason why I lead them through a webinar is I believe webinars are one of the best ways to build trust. And when we look at the market in any market, we hear the phrase, people do business with who they know, like, and trust. And the fastest way to build trust online is to leverage live video. Live video is at the top of the hierarchy, right? If I was to break down the trust hierarchy, it starts at the bottom with text, and then above that is pictures, and then above pictures is audio, like recorded audio, and then live audio, and then recorded video, and then live video. Live video is at the very top. So it's the fastest way to build trust online. So what I would do is I would encourage this YouTuber to lead people to a massive event. We have a massive webinar event, and this is what I would do. I would make sure that event is something pain focused. So let's use real estate. 5 reasons why most people don't get their first real estate investment. 5 things stopping people from getting their first real estate investment. There we go. That's what I would do. 5 things stopping most people from getting their first real estate investment, because that's something appealing that most people want, right? And you got a specific audience. I'm looking, whenever I put a title, I'm looking for, I want to deal with the pain, right? The pain is so critical. I've got to make sure that it's a pain point. I've got to make sure it's something that people feel like they can't easily do, which a lot of people do struggle with trying to get that first real estate investment property. I want to make sure that it's not from a place of pleasure. Most people, when they do webinars, live events, they're like 5 ways to get your first real estate investment property, or 5 ways to make $1 million with real estate. They're going from that perspective. But remember, we talked about how you talk to a stranger and how you talk to your family is completely different. Cold audiences don't trust people to lead them to pleasure yet. They only trust you. So I'll give you an example, right? If we're in New York and you know someone that is handing out $100 bills. They're handing out $100 bills here and there, like, hey, I'm giving out free $100 bills. In New York, specifically, it's a skeptical place, but people holding out $100 bills to try to give them away. People are going to say, well, why are you giving me the $100 bills? What's the catch?
Yes.
What is the reason? Is there something? What are you going to take from me? What are you going to, what am I going to have to lose, or something's going to happen for me, right? So the reality is that same person, let's say that same person that's questioning the $100 bill, falls on the ground, scrapes their knee, they're bleeding. And you say, hey, give me your phone. I see you're bleeding. They give you your phone. What's your passcode? Let me call the ambulance. Here's the code. Boom, 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 boom. You get everything in. That same person is going to allow you to get into their most sacred device, their personal data, their phone. But the same person wouldn't allow you to give them $100. They're skeptical about it because people trust you to lead them out of their pain first, a stranger specifically, before they allow you to lead them into pleasure. I always like to say this: pain is now, pleasure is then. Pain is something that I need to solve right now. I want help. Pleasure is something that I can get to later. So I don't have an urgency. So I wanted to kind of give your audience a breakdown of why I just came up with that title off the top of my head, but there's a lot of psychology in that title. Very, very steeped with psychology. So the title we talked about was five things stopping most people from getting their first real estate investment. The other thing that I put in there is I'm already showing the kind of audience. I'm speaking to a high caliber audience. I qualified the audience. Anybody that's looking for a real estate investment property is probably at a certain caliber, right? You're in the process. So I'm getting you across the customer journey where you are. If I said 5 ways to get into real estate investing, that's too broad. I need 5 ways to get your first real estate investment. What's stopping you from that? So now I'm going into psychology. Now it's like, I'm going to come to your webinar because I want to learn what's stopping me. I want to learn what the mistakes are. I trust you to lead me out of pain. So I always look at it like this, that once you get somebody to see that their pain is so clear, they're going to trust you to help them heal that pain. When you get them to show them, this is why. Well, first, you don't know how to source what is a good deal in real estate. So maybe I go through mistake number 1. You don't know how to source a good deal. What is a good deal? This is problem number 1. Oh, well, I never thought about that. Okay, these are the things, these are the steps. Yeah, this is the process to show you what you're doing wrong. So when I'm doing that, I'm purposefully guiding the person along their psychological journey to lead them to eventually the offer that we have for them. So I want to kind of paint the picture of where we are. So we've got the title.
Yep.
Right? Clear on the title. The next thing that I want to make sure I have is I want to build out a solid webinar, a solid framework. Yes.
What is a webinar?
Okay. A webinar is simply an online seminar. So people who do seminars, in-person events, right? It's a short, usually short, and can be long. It's a short training or instruction that you're giving online. It can be done through Zoom. It could be done through any of these video platforms where you're sharing information to help people lead them towards a decision.
Where people are watching live.
Live, absolutely, absolutely.
Right. And
So-
then you mentioned, I just want to take you back a bit before we
Yeah,
come back.
absolutely.
You mentioned remarketing. What
Yes.
is that? What's remarketing?
Remarketing. The best way to look at it is this. Everybody's probably had this happen. You ever click on something? Maybe you look at a pair of shoes and you see the shoes. You're like, wow, that looks cool. And you don't go through all the way, and then all of a sudden you're watching something from entrepreneur.com, or you're watching something your favorite YouTuber, and then you see a clip. You see another ad, and it's talking about those same shoes that you didn't buy, that you clicked on. That's remarketing. They're showing you the ad over and over again because they got your pixel data. They got the data from you, so they're able to show that to you over and over and over again. And because of remarketing, we operate by trust, right? People need touch points to trust and buy something. So when I see this multiple times, I'm like, I'm familiar and now I want to buy it. But they don't realize that that person may see the ad and may not realize. They think, wow, this brand is everywhere. But the reality is they're just tracking their data.
For the YouTuber,
Yeah.
where does it insert the pixel?
Oh, the pixel? You're going to put that on your landing page. So say we're doing this webinar, you're putting that pixel on my webinar landing page and tracking the data from there.
Okay, now let's proceed.
Okay, so perfect. So now that we've got this event title, right? The next thing I'm going to need to do, I like to work on, is the offer. So in this case, I'm going to work on an offer tied to their first real estate investment. So in my case, I want to create an offer that handles every single objection that somebody would have to buying that offer. So a lot of people will think, oh, I work on my webinar first, the content. No, you work on the offer and then you work on the content, because the content should be wrapped around whatever the offer is.
And the offer is?
And the offer is, so we're going to create let's just say we're going to create one on the spot here together. We're going to create a coaching program, and we're going to call it Your First Investment Property.
Okay.
Your First Investment Success System. Okay, that's what it is. Your First Investment Success System, right? That's what we're going to call the whole offer, right? And in the Your First Investment Success System, I'm going to think about every dream outcome or desire that person wants. Hey, I want passive income. Hey, I want freedom and time freedom. I want to be able to spend more time with my family. I want legacy. I want to have a cash flowing asset. I want to have the ability to choose to work or not to work because my cash flow is coming in. I want to know how I can find the ideal tenants to come into my properties when I get this property. So I'm going to find out all those dream outcomes that person desires, and then what we're going to do is I'm going to list out every single problem that person is facing now that's hindering them from time freedom, that's hindering them from cash flowing, that's hindering them from legacy. What are all those problems? So they might say things like, well, I don't know how. I don't have clarity. I don't know where to start. That's might be a problem. I don't know how to locate a great deal. I don't know how to find trustworthy people in real estate. There's so many problems that they may have, right, in this offer or trying to get to that ideal outcome. So now that we've listed out the dream outcomes of everything that they desire, I'm going to then go into all of the problems that they may have to do that. So I listed out those. Now, the next thing is I'm going to write out the solution. So the solution is, okay, well, you need to understand how to evaluate deals, evaluate good real estate investment properties. You need to learn what's your hiring system for finding great talent that's in the real estate space. You need to learn the mindset for a real estate investor. What's the mindset? So these are my solutions. Now, I'm not going to just say, hey, mindset for a real estate investor. I'm not going to just say how to locate a deal. this is the part where most people, this is our secret sauce. I'm going to just, is that okay if I just
Yeah.
bless the
Tell us.
people?
Tell us what the secret is.
Okay, so the secret sauce in all our offers, this is why we're able to sell offers at $17,000, $30,000, $55,000, even $100,000 offers because of this one component. Everything that I'm sharing plus what I'm about to share. We build our offers with IP, intellectual property. So when people buy something, people don't want to buy just a course today. They don't want to buy just a course. They don't want to buy just another thing. They want a system, a process, a framework, something that's proven. So every single element that's in our offer has a component that highlights that. So for example, going back to the real estate offer. So we're saying that the person is struggling to find a good deal. We could call this the deal locator success method. I'm throwing that off the top of my head, but the deal locator success method. This is our proven process for how to find a good deal. Okay. Then the next problem was the real estate investor mindset. The millionaire investor mindset for real estate investors. The millionaire investor mindset for real estate investors. That's the second component that's in my offer. I'm adding this. This is what we call a value stack, right? I add this as another piece of a value component in my offer. So by the time we're done, I probably got 10 or 15 things. And guess what those 10 or 15 things do? They destroy every objection that they have. Psychologically, the person is, well, I don't know how to find a deal. We solved that with our something system. Oh, well, I don't know how to, the mindset. We solved that with the mindset thing. I don't know how to do, like every single problem, we've anticipated every problem that they will have. And we've solved every problem strategically. And in the title, they don't know, but psychologically, we've spoken to their psyche.
It's very interesting you spoke about a stack.
Yeah.
Because I heard Russell
Yes.
Brunson, who you are a student of.
Yes.
And he was speaking about the stack.
Yes.
When he started, it wasn't even his idea, right? He borrowed it for somebody else. And when he applied the stack, it changed everything about his webinars.
Absolutely. It's a game changer. Gotta have it. The value stack, it's helping people to see the value of the offer in a way that it's expansive. And it's just like, you're like, okay, hey, I already want it for just this. And then you hear this, and then you hear that, and you hear the next component, and you're just overwhelmed with value.
But how does this translate to a regular business?
Yes, absolutely. Give me any type of business. Give me a business.
Right. So let's say, for example, someone that has they sell hair on Instagram. How does this relate to their brand?
Beautiful. So because we're talking about hair, I'm assuming this is for ladies, right? So the ladies will look at the hair as just a product, right? Majority of people. But the reality is that product has a dream outcome tied to it as well. What is the dream outcome for that lady? It's, hey, I want to be perceived as maybe even more of a professional. Could be for a lady that wants to be seen as a professional. Or, hey, I want to attract my dream spouse, right? I want to attract the attention of the gentleman that she wants to be with, right? So there's a deeper desire of why she buys that. So I learned this, that people don't buy for the thing. They buy because of the benefit of the thing. So I'll ask you this question. What does Mercedes-Benz sell?
Luxury. It's how I feel when I'm driving it.
That's it.
It makes you feel like you've made it.
There you go.
You know, you're right. The desire to drive in it's you look different from your peers.
Absolutely.
Right.
So like you said, they sell luxury, they sell status. The status symbol is what they really sell. The car is a byproduct. The same thing for the hair. The hair, or even if you use the brand like Maybelline. Maybelline, makeup in itself is not that valuable. But the beauty of what makeup can do is what you're really selling. So when Maybelline puts an ad out there, they're putting an ad around the beauty of the product from the product, not the product. So that's what I would start with this hair product. It's not even about the hair product at all. It's what can this hair product do for her that's going to put her in a light that maybe she's not in now. maybe it puts it into another stratosphere. So then in that case, if we're on a webinar selling this product, I'm going to go over all of the thing I just shared about the value stack. I'm gonna call it something like the spouse attraction system.
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
Like this, the spouse attraction system. This is not a wig. This is a spouse attracting. Men are drawn to this. Right? Now I'm selling that lady on the value of what she really wants. She doesn't care about the hair, she cares about the husband that she wants to have.
So you've really got to understand why people buy the things they buy.
That's it.
So if you have a business or you have a YouTube account,
Yeah.
an Instagram page, you really need to understand why people are really following you.
Right.
What do they want
Right.
from you?
Exactly.
Basically, and start thinking around that, and then you create a webinar around
Right.
that. That's your personal brand.
Absolutely. You got it, brother. 100%. 100%.
I'm gonna throw one more to you.
Okay, let's go.
The YouTuber
Yes.
that speaks about moving to Ghana, for example.
Okay.
How can they develop a stack and give value to the
Oh
audience?
man, that's pretty simple. Okay, so what we would do here for the YouTuber that's trying to help people from abroad to come to Ghana, right?
Yeah.
So what we would do is I would show them the problems that they're having with trying to come to Ghana on their own. So you don't know who the people are enough to navigate. So I want to showcase my trust. I want to showcase, and especially if let's assume this YouTuber has experience. Hey, we've done 100+ excursions. We've taken people to Cape Coast Castle, Elmina. I'd showcase all of my proof of why you should trust me, why we are the best to take you on this voyage to move to Ghana if that's your desire. So in that offer, what I'm going to highlight is all the problems that people would have, right? So first thing there is trust, right? Like how to find trustworthy people. So they're going to say something like our trusted inner circle of community. And this would be like, hey, we've got our trusted photographers, videographers, people you don't have to go look for referrals. These are people that are vetted, and this is in our community. What would a person pay for that? To be able to build that community, that's going to be very difficult for a stranger to want to come and learn who to find. But a person that's already well connected can put a value on that. What's the value to having an integrated community of whatever they need? Chefs, drivers, all the things.
Barbers, bro.
Barbers, like you hooked me up with today. There we go. See, I had the exact example. People don't know there's a value to that. People are paying for that. Like, hey, I don't have to worry about that. That's one item in my value stack. Now let's go to the next item. If you're trying to find real estate, we go back to real estate.
Yep.
What are the best areas in a way that I will get the best value in an upcoming area, right? Like Abri, right? Or something like that, or East Legon, right? Like, hey, I will show you and help you to navigate the best and upcoming, because they don't have time to do the research. They don't know what's happening on the ground. If I can show you where the areas that are booming or about to boom, and I can give you a list of those things, that's another asset I added to my value stack. So you see, just those two things alone, I mean, I probably value the first one at a couple $1,000. I probably value the other one at $1,000. So even if I sold this offer, even if I sold this course on for $2,000, the value is well beyond it, even with just those two components right there. But we're not done. I'm going to add probably 8 or 9 more things that show the value of the offer.
So this is incredible. Before
Yeah.
the webinar, you
Yes.
must have a course or a product ready.
Yes.
That's what goes into the webinar,
Yes.
right?
100%. You gotta have the offer. Like, I don't even touch a webinar unless I have the offer set. Know what the offer is.
So you use ads to push people into the landing page,
Yes.
right? They go there, register, do whatever it is,
Yes.
and then they get into the webinar.
That's right.
And in the webinar, that's when you are selling the product that you have ready.
Absolutely. You got it.
Huh.
100%. So now that we have the offer ready, right? That's the first component. Now once the offer is set, I then go back and create my presentation or the webinar content itself that I'm going to present. And so I'd like to share with your viewers and your listeners for the process that we do for this, right? We have a very proprietary process called the parable presentation method.
I was going to ask about that. You took that out of my head, but yeah, go on.
So what has happened is webinars have, some people have said they're saturated or webinars are dead. There's a lot of people using them. But the problem is most people just don't know how to use them effectively. And the reality is this, I'm going to kind of take my time to really break this down. You have to teach from psychology. Psychology is, I think, if we do anything better than any other organization in our space, is we understand the psychology. And psychology shows us that people don't remember facts and figures. They remember stories. And stories sell, facts tell. So you've got to be able to sell that story to the people. And I learned this from Jesus, right? The ultimate teacher, the ultimate example. Anytime Jesus taught a parable, there was a principle that was tied to the parable.
And the parable is?
A parable is a story.
Right.
A parable is it's a story where Jesus would talk about one of my favorite parables, the parable of the talents. The one that had one, the one that had two, the one that had 5, right? And then they multiplied theirs. And then essentially there was a principle that don't hide your gift in the ground. Don't take what God has given to you and not bring it out to the marketplace. So there's a principle in every single parable that Jesus taught. I took that same philosophy. Well, I said, if the master teacher does that, then it should work for my webinar too. So this was years ago. I want to say 4 or 5 years ago, I started leveraging that into our webinars. I started putting more story into the webinar because I have a natural I'm a teacher. My gifting is teaching. And so I had a natural tendency to over teach and teach and teach and teach. And I wouldn't see sales. Actually, the sales, as ironic as this sounds, I would actually not have a lot of sales when I taught a lot.
You were over-teaching.
Over-teaching, right? When you're over-teaching, you're overwhelming people, and they feel like, I don't understand everything. I don't get it. Because there's different levels to, some people might understand certain things, and then some people might feel, oh my God, that was way too much. And when they feel overwhelmed, they feel like, oh man, I'm not going to do anything.
Let me stop you here for a minute. We are on a journey of changing the minds and the lives of people. So if you haven't subscribed and become part of the family, please hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification. Thank you. Now let's carry on with the conversation. Well, wouldn't that be seen as value you're giving to? Or is it too much value at that stage?
It's great, it does add value, but what happens is, this is what I've learned. A confused mind never buys. If somebody's confused, they're thinking too much. Like, if there's, think about, a place that has so many options, too many things, you're just overwhelmed. You don't even know what to do. And it paralyzes you. So the reality is, you want to simplify things and you want to use a story because a story is not, everybody can understand a story. It's not complex. So, for example, I'm going to share a story now. When I was teaching about webinars and I was teaching, I was teaching too much. And my friend pulled me to the side one of these days and he's like, Dave, how much did you make from the training? This is a live training, by the way. How much did you make? I said, zero sales. He's like, I thought so. And I was like, what do you mean? And I shared, hey, I thought I delivered, just like what you're saying. I thought I gave him all the value. He's like, yeah, man, you taught too much. And when you teach too much, that's where I first learned it. My friend sat me down and was like, you taught too much. And I had 0 sales. So I was seeing the market giving me, validating this data on storytelling. So I said from then on, I'm not going to do that anymore. So I started incorporating stories. And stories are designed, and webinars are designed to do just a few things. They're designed to encourage people, and they're designed to destroy limiting beliefs.
Yes. Any
limiting beliefs that a person has. So I started to do storytelling, and what, for example, this is a story that I share. During the pandemic in 2020, ironically, I was in Ghana, and the pandemic came, COVID came. I lost 60% of my business overnight.
How?
Because I had a lot of in-person delivery at the time. I didn't teach. My service offerings weren't all online. I was actually delivering in person and actually doing trainings and things, coming to people's businesses and doing that. So 60% of my business was on in person, and the other 40% was online. And I lost it, all my contracts. I was literally here for a conference, and they said, David, we've canceled the conference, and I'm trying to get back into the United States. They're closing the border to get into the U.S., and they're closing the border to leaving from Ghana to get back into the U.S. And I got back home, and I said, God, what am I going to do? I've lost 60%. I miraculously got back home, and he said, son, you've always been good with webinars. And that's where this whole thing started. God gave me the vision to do webinars in 2020. And I said, okay. And I did webinar after webinar. I did one webinar, 10K, another webinar, 20, 30, 40. And by the time I looked up, we had made multiple six figures from one webinar presentation.
David is a webinar millionaire. So sometimes you get a calling.
Yeah.
You hear the voice.
Yeah.
How come people don't see that through?
Yeah. I think it's distraction, and you gotta, to hear from God, you gotta really isolate. And I journal, and I'm a resource person. There's a book called How to Hear from God by Mark Vickler, and that book has changed my life. And I journal because if you think about the Bible was written by men of God and women of God that were inspired by the Holy Spirit, and they would what? They would scribe what they heard. So when I speak to God, I listen and I wait and I scribe what He says. So that's how I was able to get clarity in that season.
Is that enough boost for people to get going with their dreams?
Absolutely. One word from God can change your entire life. That one word changed my entire life.
But it's the same Bible that says that the poor will always be among.
Right.
How do we marry that too?
Absolutely. So the reality is, I know this is going to sound crazy. Bill Gates said it best. He said, if you're born poor, that's not your fault. But if you die poor, that's your fault. It's a decision. Poverty and wealth are decisions. I think that a person can change the course of their life through a decision. How I changed my life through decisions. And decision means to cut off, right? To cut off whatever you want to be removed from. And I truly believe that poverty is a mindset. And I believe that wealth is a mindset too.
How did you do it?
How did I do it? Man, great question. So for me, growing up, very strict household, my parents, obviously Ghanaian. Growing up, I had four options: lawyer, doctor, engineer, or accountant. That was all that was respected, right? You don't be anything else. And for me, I declared as an engineering major. First year was fine. Second year, I'm like, man, I hate this. I don't want to do this for the rest of my life. So I wrote my mom a 7-page letter because she wasn't going to let me speak or get a word in. I wrote a letter explaining why I'm going to go into this thing called digital media. At the time, digital media was a foreign word or foreign concept. I'm using, at the time, digital media to help my friends with their Facebook and their MySpace, if anybody remembers the MySpace days. I was using it for fun. I didn't know that this would be an industry. And I'm using it to help my friends grow their brands online. And so I changed my major to digital media. I graduated in the recession, 2008, 2009, where it was really tough to find jobs. I applied for over 100 jobs, and I didn't get not one interview, not one callback, not one email. Nobody was responding. All my friends are giving up on their majors. Like they're just settling for insurance jobs, companies that had the money to just give them any kind of job, finance jobs that, aren't affected by the economy. And I said, no, I'm not settling. My passion, my vision is to help people, inspire people through media. So I didn't quit. I kept trying, and a job opportunity came across the country to where I worked for this company called TerraCycle, the world's leader in recycling and upcycling of traditionally non-recyclable items. So I used to help them run their digital marketing to brands like Kraft, Frito-Lay, Huggies, and I was essentially a one-man band. I was running the entire department of the social media for this company, and I was leading 26 other countries at the time. While I was doing that, the idea came for Kingdom Social Media. This is where, again, God spoke. Idea said, I want you to use media to impact the kingdom. And so it just came to me to create the company Kingdom Social Media, which is the name of our company. While doing that, I'm giving the long story, the background. I'm coming to your answer, to your question here to answer it, but I'm kind of taking the pathway because I feel like there's a lot of people listening that are in a job and they want to leave. So I want to give the process for transition. So when I was working, this is my dream job, by the way. This is what I wanted to do. I'm enjoying it. I can't believe I'm getting paid to do this every day, play on social media every day, advertise. I'm like, wow, this is crazy. They're paying for me for this. So I'm doing the job that I love. And I read a book, which I'm going to recommend to your listeners and viewers, called Caught Between a Dream and a Job by Dr. Delator McNeil. Awesome book, a game-changing book that changed my life. I'm reading that book, and his process is find your dream job and then go into your dream. So it's the bridge to get to where you want to go. So I'm now in my dream job, and I told myself I want to leave in 2.5 years, but it took me 4.5 years. And I was building the company on the side. And while I was building, I got an opportunity to serve some business owners. I landed 5 clients in one day, right? And God had been preparing me to leave, right? I landed 5 clients in one day. That changed a lot, right? So now I got my full-time job. I got my now full-time business. I'm working 8 hours on the job and 8 hours on the business for 6 months straight. 5 a.m. to 8 a.m., I'm working on the job. I'm working on my business. 8 a.m. to 9, I'm commuting. 9 to 12, I'm handling my job and honoring my job. 12 to 1, I'm handling appointments. 1 to 5, I'm handling my job again, honoring my job. 5 to 6, I'm commuting. 6 to 8, I'm having dinner with my wife. 8 to 12, I'm working on my business. For 6 months straight, I'm working round the clock, right? I'm sleeping very minimally, but that's what it took to get there. So I leave and I established Kingdom Social Media, and we initially were helping everybody, and then we zone in on speakers, coaches, consultants, and experts. That's where we focused. And when we started to do that, that's when we started to see an incline. Now to answer your question, I wanted to share all that backstory because that was part of the journey to get to that wealthy mindset. I had to understand. I had to get something greater. You may need to cut off things that aren't as great. They're good things, but they're not the great things for you. I had a good job. I could have been comfortable. Thank God they let me go, because I don't know if I struggled. Yeah,
right.
I was getting ready to leave, but I don't think I would have done it that quick, right? And it's important to understand, to create wealth. You're going to need to. What's crazy is you're going to need to do less. You're going to need to cut off all the good options and focus on the great options. And that's what happened for us. So in 2020, we like I said, we focused on webinars, and then fast forward to 2021. Now people are asking me, hey, David, I saw you making multiple 6 figures with your webinars. How did you do that? And then I'm starting to help other clients. And then now we're helping our clients have 6-figure days. And it's becoming a normal thing. That's actually like, we're not surprised by that at all. Like, multiple 6 figures is normal. So I'm seeing that, right? Here's where I'm getting to. I was able to create wealth by creating wealth for others. Once I started to create wealth for others, Zig Ziglar says, if you help other people get what they want, you'll get what you want in life. So I didn't have my first 6-figure day first. I helped my clients have 6-figure days, and then I had mine. I didn't hit my millions until I helped my clients hit millions. And then that's what happened for us. So that's where wealth comes from. It comes from serving and helping other people. And as we started to serve more, we ended up earning more. And that's really the reality of it.
I just love the story.
Thanks, brother.
It took. And David here is a student of Myron Golden as well.
Yes, sir.
I think he showed me some of the things he's taught you,
Yes.
some of the concepts that you've learned from this man.
Absolutely.
I think he's an incredible man.
He is. Truly.
I would eventually come to one of his sessions as
Yes.
well, and I hope to see you there.
Oh, you will.
Hope to see you there. If we bring this back home again,
yeah,
the regular person that doesn't have internet presence,
mm-hmm.
but they're doing very well
Yeah.
but let's say they are wholesaling fashion items
Yeah.
in a regular shop.
Yeah.
How can they transition from where they are to where you want them to be?
Absolutely. I think it starts with the vision, really getting clear on what is the vision that I want. And one of the things I've realized when you get vision, so I'm going to be very transparent here. One of our goals, and I don't publicly share our goals a lot, but one of our goals is to get to 10 million in sales, right? And I'm gonna parlay it back to that example you gave. The only way for us to get there, there's only a few paths. I can't take 12 or even 100 roads to get there. There's only a very few, and here's the other kicker. We want to get there very fast. We're not talking 5-10 years from now. We're talking very fast. So what's the fastest path to that? The vision of what we want to accomplish, it makes what we want to do a concise path. I can't get there with a wide path. It's a narrow path. So I would say to that person who's wholesaling, and in that, what is their vision? Where does that vision start with? So if their vision is to get to, let's just say they want to make $1 million in their business, right? In that path. Well, because they want to do that, it means I don't want to work 20 hours a day, right? To do that, I might need to build partnerships to get me to there. Who has my market? So that person is going to start asking themselves a different question. Okay, let's just change that goal. If that goal was 100,000, I might not think about partnerships because I think I can do that on my own. But million, that's going to cause me to get partnerships. The vision changes the direction. The vision changes the steps to get there. So if I have to adjust the vision to, and I encourage people to have a high vision, have a vision that stretches you, that you need God's help to do, right? If it's just for you, then it's not a real vision. If it's something that you can accomplish on your own, I believe the vision is not strong enough. Your vision from God will be something where you need the help of others and you need the help of God himself. So now with that vision, that person might need partnerships. So I'm going to think strategically. I'm going to work smarter, not harder. Who has my market? Who is the person? What industry you said? Are they selling what specific thing?
Fashion items.
Fashion items. Okay. Who are the biggest wholesalers in the fashion space right now? How can I serve them? They already have my market. I don't need to go figure out who to build this from scratch because I'm thinking at $1 million level. I'm going to now make $1 million decisions. $1 million decision means I'm going to go to the person that already is speaking to my fashion wholesaler target market. Okay, now how do I build a relationship with that person? Maybe there's something I need to do to serve them. Hey, I know you're coming into the Ghanaian market. Let me show you some of the best warehouses, the best place, and I show them for free. I don't even need to have any money. Value, you can build value without any money. So I can say, hey, that person, hey, thank you for opening that door for us. I'm glad you know who the best places are to go, who are the best connections. What is it that you do? They take interest in you. That's exactly how I started. My first major client, shout out to Dr. Delator McNeil, I served him for free for years. And then he paid me. But I didn't start that, and that relationship has opened, I can't even tell you how many doors. So a person that, wherever you are right now, the person listening, if you have a gift, if you have value, you can offer that to the marketplace where you are right now. You don't need money to be able to offer value. You don't need products or things. You have value that you can share right now that somebody's really willing to. The Bible says your gift makes room for you. It doesn't say money makes room for you. Your gift makes room for you. So if you're able to leverage that gift to open doors with where you are right now, what's anybody's excuse? I don't care if you got 2 CDs to your name right now. You still have a gift. You still have something in your hand.
But how do we discover the gift, though?
How do you discover the gift? Oh man, that's a great question. So I think there's some questions you have to ask yourself. First question I like to ask is, what makes you angry? What makes you angry? And that's a weird question. I think one of my heroes is Nelson Mandela. Nelson Mandela, Martin Luther King, Rosa Parks. These are all people that were angry, right? Martin Luther King was angry at the injustices that happened to his people. And he was actually angry by seeing what actually happened to Rosa Parks, who was told to sit at the back of the bus. That's what spurred the whole civil rights movement, anger. Mandela, angry at what they were doing with apartheid in South Africa, anger. When you think about, here's another organization called, in the US called MAD, Mothers Against Drunk Driving. These are women that started a movement because their sons and daughters were getting killed in car accidents. They were mad, so they called it MAD, Mothers Against Drunk Driving. So the first question is, what makes you angry? What makes me angry is seeing wasted potential. I hate that. I hate it with a passion. That's why I'm so passionate about gifting. I want people to know their gift. I want people to know that God has given them value into the marketplace. So that's the first question. You got to ask yourself, what makes you angry? Another question you got to ask yourself is, what would you do for free? What would you do for free if nobody paid you? Like, you just enjoy, like earlier we were in here, my brother Derek was setting things up. He's just enjoying. I could tell you would do that for free. Nobody would have to. Nobody, like you do that. Yeah. Like, what is it that you would do for free that nobody has to pay you for? Another question is, what would you do? Now, this is the tricky one. What would you do if you're already a multimillionaire? Right? You're already wealthy. You need to ask yourself, what would you do if you already have the means? Because you want to make sure that you're not doing something tied to just money. It's not going to last if you're just doing it for the money. You need to ask yourself that. The next question you need to ask is, what are you naturally gifted at? Naturally gifted at. So things that come naturally to you. Like, for example, for me, it was teaching. I didn't even know teaching was a gift. I just thought teaching was for teachers in a classroom. But teaching is a gift that God gives. Just like, and I feel like I'm hearing the listeners on this asking the question, well, some gifts are so easily identifiable, like humor. You can tell somebody's funny. Some athletic. You can see somebody's athletically gifted. The ability to sing, that's obvious. But there are other gifts like leadership, that organization, collaboration. These are things that you can't see. So and teaching is not something you can always see. So these are gifts where you're naturally good at. This is where you need to ask. Brings me to another question. You need to ask the people around you what they see in you, your friends, your family, those closest to you, because the closer you are to your gift, the easier it is for you to ignore it. The closer you are, it's so obvious to you. You're doing it so effortlessly. Nobody can. No, you're so in the zone that you don't even know how good you are. Right? So Les Brown said it like this: it's hard to see the picture when you're in the frame. So if you can't see you need other people to look around you to point what those gifts are. So I gave your listeners about 5 different questions you should ask yourself to find that gift.
Let me stop you here for a minute. We are on a journey of changing the minds and the lives of people. So if you haven't subscribed and become part of the family, please hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification. Thank you. Now let's carry on with the conversation. I love it. I was so quiet listening to you because it was taking me in.
Yes.
Now, thank you so much for that. I hope the viewers and the listeners really take value in this. But David, really, what's your failure story?
Oh man. No, I got so many failures, but I'll start with kind of intersects with my journey. So I told you that I was on track to become an engineer. Grew up in a very strict household. Shout out to my parents. I'm grateful for them. But in my junior year of high school, I cracked into the system and I changed my grade from a D to a B in English. Actually, a subject I'm actually pretty good at. But it was all to please my mom, to show her that I didn't want to bring a bad grade home. And I ended up bringing this D, getting this D, or I was on my way to get a D, but I hacked into the system and I changed my grade on the computer. And I also helped a few students do the same. And I was expelled. I was expelled from the high school, and then I was expelled from the entire district. I had to go to a new high school my senior year of high school. And you can imagine the shame that I brought on my mom's face. Just the tears, like you ever seen somebody so mad they can't even, it's tears steaming, but she's not trying to cry, but the tears are coming down her face. because she's so upset. Because my mom immigrated to the US as a nurse with nobody's backing. She didn't have any support. She made it her way possible through scholarship and education. So education I found this out later, education had a deep meaning to her. It was so important. And I trampled on the thing that was important to her. And as I, got expelled, it really hurt her. Then, miraculously, I still graduate high school, and miraculously, I still get accepted into college, Sacramento State University, and in California. And so while I'm on my way to go to college, I actually, it was about a few months before I'm about to go, I'm called by some friends that said, "Hey, Dave, we're gonna have this party. Love for you to come by. Help us cash this check at the bank." So I'm on my way to go to the bank with these guys to cash this check. My mom called me that day, said, "David, don't go." She's very in tune with God. "Don't go anywhere today. Just stay at home." I didn't listen. This is after, on the back of us miraculously getting, I shouldn't be accepted into a college university with an expulsion in my junior year, your most important year. But I get to the bank. They hand me this check. These guys I'm in the car with, they hand me a check. I hand it to the cashier. Let me tell you what I'm wearing. I'm wearing a white tee, basketball shorts, a do-rag, and some Jordans, right? So it's not a good outfit for doing what I'm about to do, right? So I walk into the bank, I hand them the check, and then the lady's taking a long time, a very long time. I'm like, what is going on? And I get a call from the guy's brother that gave me the check. He said, "Dave, what are you doing?" I said, I'm in the bank with your brother." He said, "Did he give you a check?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "Dave, you got to run out of the bank right now. That check is stolen. He stole it from his friend." I said, "Bro, I'm in the bank. I see myself on the camera." He's like, "Dude, that's a felony. You need to run out of the bank right now." And I'm like, I'm not gonna run out of the bank. That just would look so weird. And then next thing I hear, "Put your hands in the air." Cops come. They tell me to put my hands in the air, put my knees on the ground, and they arrest me. And I'm in the back of a police car, and they're telling me, "David, do you know what you did? It's called passing the check. It's a felony. You're going to do 6 years in federal prison." I just turned 18 a few days before. If this had happened a few days before, just slap on the wrist, nothing would have happened. But because I'm now 18, I'm tried as an adult. And I'm sitting in that car just thinking, watching my life flash before me. Like, I was supposed to go to college. I'm supposed to do this. I'm supposed to do that. And it's taking me in a whirlwind. I get to the holding cell. I have to call my mom, and I have to tell her the news. And then we call the bails bonding people. They said they're going to need $10,000 to bail you out. And so she bails me out of jail. And she's, just distraught. You can imagine if she was upset by the school thing, you can only imagine the pain I brought to her face and to her mentioning this. And so it's just disappointment. I'm a disappointment to my community, to the family, so many things that are happening at this moment. But I'm on bail. That doesn't mean I'm not guilty. I'm still looked at as guilty. So my mom said, this is where I first learned to fast and pray. I never fasted at that time. And we fasted and prayed. For 2 weeks, I fasted. I didn't go anywhere. I stayed in my room. I fasted and we prayed. And I remember the bail bondsman people came to the house, and they came to tell my mom. They said, "The district attorney has dropped the case." He said, "Because you didn't sign the back of the check. Had you signed the back of the check, you would have been in prison." My ignorance, I didn't even notice. I'm a kid. I didn't notice signed checks. I didn't sign the check. I'm scot-free. So that's my journey, man, to start, right? Now, fast forward, I wanted to give you that context. You think I'd get it together. No, I go to college, I graduate from college, and I'm now partying, smoking, weed, doing, like, God has given me, obviously, multiple chances, and I'm not listening, and he's sending people in my life. I remember one time, I got a letter. I was writing a letter, and God was writing through me. Like prayers from overseas. Speaking about Ghana, prayers from overseas are writing this letter to you to tell you to get your life together. And eventually, by the grace of God, I gave my life to Christ at 19. And that's when everything unlocked. And I got a clear path of my vision and purpose. And that's where I learned about gifting, because I didn't see the gift inside of me. So a lot of failures along the way, but in business, I wanted to give you that context. My foundation was littered with failure. But here's the big turning point for me. When I was starting in the business, I told you that I was working in corporate America, and I was working a job and I was working the business. When I first got married, my wife was like, I don't know about you being an entrepreneur. I don't see the tendencies, the things in you. And so I was getting ready to leave, and I wasn't sure about asking her. I was like, hey, do you think I could do this? And she's like, yeah. And so when I got let go, she was the first one to congratulate me. Congratulations. And I was scared to tell her that I'd been let go. But fast forward into business. I got 6 clients in one go, or 5 clients in one go. And I lose my biggest client after getting let go from my job. So I just got 2 weeks later after being let go. I lose my biggest client, 60. At that time, he was 60% of my revenue. I lose all that money, and I'm like, oh God, what am I going to do? And I asked God for clarity of what to do. I said, God, I surrender this business to you. I just give you this business. Just take over, because obviously I don't know what I'm doing. And it's my first year, very first year in business. And God showed me a lesson. He said, when you had a job, you knew to trust me. It was easy. You get a direct deposit coming to your account every 2 weeks. But now you have a business. I need you to know, you knew that I was your source when you had a job. You need to really know that I'm your source in business. I know you're the one doing the business, but I'm your source. I'm the one operating through you. And so I got that revelation that God is the source no matter what through the business. A few weeks later from there, we closed a deal that was 5 times as much as the client that I had just lost, right? So it was a roller coaster, right? So the lows and then the highs. Now I want to get to one very critical turning point where I could have lost the entire business. I think I'm in year 2. And things aren't going well. I'm behind on bills. I'm behind on the mortgage in our house. There's a lot of debt piling up, a lot of things. And I tell my wife, as a husband, my duty is to honor and serve and protect and take care of her. I told my wife, hey, things aren't working the way I thought they would right now. I'm just going to get a job and then build back up and everything. And she said, no, you're not. You're going to figure it out. You're not getting a job. I'm like, but sweetie, the bills, and he's like, I know, but you're going to figure this out. You're not getting a job. This is your dream. You're going to go for your dream. That confidence she had in me at one of my lowest points changed everything. That changed the game. I mean, that was a pivotal turning point in the business. That was one of my lowest lows. And she was there for me. So shout out to my wife, Abigail, in my lowest turning point where I lost belief in my own ability as an entrepreneur. And it's been all the way up from then, that point. I mean, of course, highs and lows, but there's no low that has been as low as that. And that support that I had, I think every entrepreneur needs a loving spouse that believes in them when they don't believe in themselves.
I'm a big believer of when a man has a supportive woman, or a woman has a supportive man, they can do better.
Oh, man.
It becomes like a spring.
It is.
It's the catalyst
100
to their success.
100%, brother.
I definitely agree.
Yeah.
When you were speaking, I was just also thinking about the times where my wife has just told me, I'm proud of you. Just those words is enough to make any person climb the highest mountain. That's why I say that as an entrepreneur, as a go-getter, find that support system quick enough in life.
That's it.
Because when you do, you win faster.
That's it.
And you win with a team.
That's right.
You don't win alone.
That's it. That's it.
But that's incredible. Shout out to Abigail.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. You have a book coming out.
Yes, sir.
Monetize Your Gift.
Yes, sir.
And as you speak, I could tell you really are a student of the gift.
Thank you, sir.
What can we expect in that book?
Man, Monetize your gift is everything I wish somebody told me about finding my gift. So there's a process. Everything with me, there's a story, right? There's a process in how I found this concept, and it's through the Bible, the parable of the talents. There's 3 Ds in that scripture. The parable of the talents, the one that had one, the one that had two, the one that had five, right? We know the one that had one hid theirs in the ground. So God showed me at 19 that the first step is discovery. It's discovering what the gift that God has given you. So you discover what is it that God has given me. And you don't discover, God doesn't always just say, Derek, this is your gift. David, this is your gift. He doesn't do that. You have to discover through, honestly, sometimes failure, sometimes other people showing you, as some of those examples I gave. You have to discover your gift through the process of discovery. And then that's the first step. So once you've discovered it, the next step is development. So that's why when God told them to take what they had and multiply and increase, the 2 and the 5, they multiplied theirs, they increased, they developed the gift or the talent into more. That's our obligation. We're supposed to multiply whatever he gives us. It's to take your gift and to take it into mastery. So don't just find your gift and just stay there. You got to find your gift, multiply it into mastery to become excellent, world class, to become the best. Like I have the aim to become one of the, and I believe we are, one of the best webinar agencies in the world, right? We want to become the best in anything we do. So that's the second step, is development. The third step is the last part that most people get wrong. And this is what the book details, is distribution. It's implied. God never gives you a gift for yourself. It's never for you alone. It's for others. So we know that God's nature is to take whatever he's given you and to distribute or give them. The Bible says distribution is to serve among many, right? So my gift is to take that gift and give it out to the market. And when I say give it out, I'm not saying for free either. I'm talking about monetizing that gift. So this is where monetizing comes. When you have a gift and you distribute the gift, so this 3Ds, discover, develop, distribute. That is the aim of the book. And the book breaks down each of those components in deep detail. And the distribution part is most people don't market their gift. I love what Proverbs 11:26 says, and where it says, people curse the one who hoards grain, but they pray God's blessing on the one who is willing to sell. People don't know that's in the Bible. The one who is willing to sell, not donate, not hand out for free. It says sell our gift. So the people are cursing the person that's holding their knowledge, if it's information, wholesale fashion business, if you're holding that knowledge, or you, the person that has the tour travel business that wants to help people from the US or abroad come to Ghana, if you're hoarding that knowledge, the Bible says the people curse you for holding that and hoarding it. But they pray the blessing on the one who is willing to sell. So that means distribution, you have to be willing to sell. And so that book details that, because I realize this is what we struggle with as believers in the kingdom. A lot of people struggle with selling. And selling, to me, selling is helping. Selling is helping. And I detail this in the book too, but I want to break this down. I want to give this illustration, right? This goes into my psyche as a childhood, as a Ghanaian kid in America. I was selling these entertainment books, right, to try to help, fundraise for as a kid for these things that we had. My mom would be like, David, stop, slow down. It's too much. It's too much. Like trying to be modest, doesn't want me to, because I believe sales is bound in the heart of a child. Children are natural salespeople. They sell all the time. Mommy, Daddy, can I have this? Can I have that? Like they're always trying to sell. So I'm trying to sell as a child, and my mom is stifling that. Most parents do, unfortunately. But parents don't stifle that. So here's what happens. This is what I learned. The Jewish community, this is the reason why the Jewish population, they are, in the US, they are 4% of the population and control 40% of the wealth in America. How is that possible? It's not because of any other factor than the mindsets they're taught from childhood. And there's a book, one of my favorite books, called Thou Shalt Prosper by Rabbi Daniel Lapin. He breaks down the 10 commandments of money according to the Jewish culture. And one of the principles, this is why I'm kind of coming back to selling and coming back to the distribution, is that when you're selling, you shouldn't see selling as selling. The Jewish community. So take the example of me selling the entertainment books. Let's put that same example in the Jewish community. What would have happened? Let's call him Little Johnny. So Little Johnny is selling cookies to Mr. Smith and Mr. Amwa, right? He's selling cookies to the different people. And what happens is this. Johnny comes home and he's cooking and he's baking all these cookies, and he sells the block. He sells all the cookies. He runs out. He comes home. His mom and dad look at Johnny and say, Johnny, good job. I'm so proud of you. Do you know what you did when you sold the cookie to Mr. Smith and Mr. Amwa and all these people that you sold the cookies to? Even though they gave you $5 or 5 CDs, they gave you the money for the cookies. You know when they did that? You helped them. They don't have to knead the dough. They don't have to put the chocolate chips in there. They don't have to get the parchment paper, put it in the oven. They're explaining to Johnny all of the work that you've done to help those people. You've blessed those people. I'm so proud of you. And they explain to Johnny, and Johnny's looking at it like, wow, I sold the cookie, but I did something way more than sell the cookie. I helped that person. So Johnny, from a child, sees selling as helping. He doesn't see selling like it's sleazy. It doesn't feel icky. It doesn't feel, oh man, I'm trying to take from somebody. No, he feels that I'm on the lower end of the stick. I got the lower end of the stick. You're getting more than I am. He's taught that by his parents. And so what does Johnny do when he grows up? The way that Johnny sees opening the door for the old lady is the same way he sees selling a cookie or selling real estate as he gets older, selling insurance, selling products, selling fashion. It doesn't matter. He has the concept in his mind that selling is noble, it's righteous, it's holy, it's blessed, it's a good thing, it's a God thing. But I, as a child, that was beaten out of me until I got older and had to rework that mindset. And now I look at selling, I think selling is one of the most noble professions, most honorable professions in the world. And every entrepreneur should feel that way about selling. So that goes back to my book. I go in deep detail in distribution because a lot of people don't have that mindset about selling. They feel like, oh man, I'm taking from somebody. Oh man, I'm taking money from somebody to make a sale. No, you have to add 10 times more value to make a great sale.
It's a limiting belief, isn't it?
Yes.
What's the one skill you think every entrepreneur needs?
Oh man. There's so many. The one skill, you've got to have the selling ability.
Yep, I knew you were going to say that. I mean, I don't know why it took you so long.
I was trying to think of anything else, but I was like, no,
sales,
that's it.
Sales.
Selling is so critical.
Yeah, I think I learned that a year into my business.
Yeah.
Then I realized that, what I needed really before I started this business was the ability to sell.
Yes.
Both face-to-face and on the internet.
That's it.
Yes. It's because you want to make a sale.
Absolutely.
And if you can't make a sale, that business is not going to work.
It's dead. It's going to die.
And especially when you start a business and you're the only person in there.
Right.
As a new business person,
right.
You need to do the accounting, you need to do the sales, you need to do the marketing, everything.
Right.
But I think the first thing you need is sales.
100%. I agree with you.
Sales.
Selling is key.
Now,
yeah,
being a student of Myron Golden.
Yes, sir.
What's one big lesson you've learned from him?
Oh, man. There's so many, but the biggest one is he transferred his mindset to me. That's how I see it. I got to transfer, like, the importance of mindset. Like, I can't describe, the best way to describe it is to illustrate through story.
Okay.
Right? True story. I'm part of his inner circle at the time, and we're on a call. And this is a group call, virtual call, and there's a bunch of people on, and we're sharing our wins. And I'm sharing my win and how we'd help this client make multiple 6 figures in a day. And everybody's like, man, that's great, David. That's awesome. Like it was over $400,000, right? So he's like, that's great, David. Amazing. Like everybody in the group is like, great, 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 like all the cheering and everything. Myron's kind of stoic, like no real expression. And then he asked me. He said, David, how much did you make in that, transaction and everything? I said we ended up at 25K. He's like, how do you feel about that? Like I came to the call
To celebrate.
To celebrate. I was excited, but now I'm questioning how I should feel about it because I'm like, wow, I didn't put the math. Okay, 400,000, 25. Well, I guess that's really not that much comparatively. If we help somebody make this and we only took this, it's decent, but it's not a whole lot. And it had me question what I was doing. And then he said to me, David, can I coach you? I said, okay. He said, never do that again. I'm like, do. And he's like, never ever do a done for you service without charging a percentage, where you take a percentage of the result that you get. Because you're creating the system, you're creating money mountains for people, and you're taking pebbles. How does that feel? And it was a coachable moment. And from that day on, we always added percentages into the work that we do with webinars and challenges. And that one thing alone has produced millions of dollars just doing that, right? Just that one component. Now, here's what's interesting. So I come to another event later in the year, and I go to somewhere in California. We see each other, and I say, Myron, I implemented everything you shared. We got the percentage deals built into everything now. He's like, okay, great. You want to get to the real money? I'm like, wait, didn't I just get to the level that he's like, so then he said, you know what you need to get to? You need to get to perpetuity deals. I'm like, Byron, what is a perpetuity deal? He said a perpetuity deal is where you get paid, you do work once and you get paid for the rest of your life. He's like, oh, yeah, I got a couple of those. I'm like, what? That's a whole nother level. So my point in that, when I say the transfer of the mindset, is that no matter what result or anything I brought to him, he never let me think that was there. That like there's no there. There's no like you've arrived. It doesn't matter. Like, oh, Myron, I made 10 million. Okay, what about, why don't we get to 100? Myron, I made 100 million. Oh, no, why don't we get to 1 billion? It's the mindset of like, no number is too big. No number is, it changed my mindset. He changed my mindset, and like, it helped me to, I know it sounds crazy, but I look at $100,000 in a day as like a normal thing. Before coming in, that was not normal to me. But now I have a different psyche, a whole different mindset. Like I look at things completely differently because he transferred his belief system, his belief in people, and his belief to me, and that's what has changed the game for me.
But David, as I speak, you have 3 mentors right now.
Yes.
Why do you believe so much in mentorship?
I love what Dr. Mike Murdoch said. He said, "There's 2 ways to learn in life: mistakes or mentors." So mistakes is the slowest path to learn. Mentorship is the fastest path to learn. I love speed. I love to be able to get to where I need to go fast. And I feel like there's always a story, and I don't share this often, but one of my late mentors, is the late Dr. Miles Monroe. And for those that are familiar, right, he's a kingdom teacher, and I had an opportunity to work with him personally. And a friend of mine invited me to come to his, be a part of his mentorship. And I was like, I didn't even want to hear the price. I didn't want to hear the offer. I didn't want to hear anything. I'm like, no. I assumed it was going to be crazy. I was like, nah. And this is while I'm working in corporate America, like 2013. And I didn't want to hear it. I didn't want to hear what it was about. He said, no, David, you gotta join this. It's amazing. It's amazing. And I ignored him for like almost a year. And then eventually something just said, join it. I joined, and I was like, wow, they invest all this value for this? I was like, wow, it's crazy. It's crazy. So I joined his mentorship. I'm in there. It's changing my life. He's personally responding to different things and sharing different concepts. I'm going through some of the curriculum in Miles Monroe's mentorship, and it's changing my life. It's adding so much value to my life. I'm learning about potential. I'm learning about purpose. I'm learning about work and all these great concepts. And we're now a few months in, I think 6 to be exact. And I'm in the 6th month in, and Dr. Miles Monroe dies in a plane crash. This was the month he died. And I was at a Christian rap concert, and I heard the news, and I was so devastated for his mentees, for his family, and then for me. I asked myself, if my life has changed this drastically in these 6 months that I've worked with this gentleman, what would have happened if when my friend said, David, you should join? My life would be completely different. And the reality is, that moment taught me I never miss now. I get opportunity to invest in a mentor or mentorship that can take, you can help me get fast track to go to the next level. I don't care what the investment is. It's $55,000, $20,000, whatever. I invested just last year $250,000 in my personal development last year, because that's how important it is to me to go to another level. If I can, one conversation, one room, one thing, one conversation specifically brought us around $300,000 in sales. One person. So imagine that, like, in one room. So what could happen if you're in multiple rooms or multiple mentors? What can happen? You just fast track. So that's what's happened for us. Is I believe in mentorship. I have mentorship. I encourage mentorship. I have mentors. Never trust a mentor who doesn't have a mentor. Never trust a coach who doesn't have a coach.
I agree.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Motivation or discipline?
Discipline, 100%.
What's the best advice you've ever received?
The best advice I've ever received is around farming. So that's going to sound odd, but one of my mentors said to me, he said, David, business is like farming. When you understand this, you'll always have business. He said, in farming, if I have a tomato seed today, can I put the tomato seed in the ground and have a tomato tomorrow? It's not possible, right? Unless it's a GMO, right? But I will not be able to have a tomato harvest tomorrow, my seed today. So whatever you do in January, you don't see it in February or even March. You'll see it in April. Whatever you do in February, you're going to see in May. Whatever you do in March, you're going to see in June. So if you always sow seed, you're always going to have a harvest. But here's the concept that he really broke it down for me. So where a lot of entrepreneurs fail is they sow seed January, February, March, right? Then April, May, and June. Oh, May, oh man, things are great. I'm going to slow down a little bit. Okay, May is fine. June is fine. Okay, July is fine. August comes. You're like, man, but July was so good last month. What's going on? You didn't realize your August harvest was tied to your May seed. So your seed sowing has to be consistent. You have to sow seed in every way. So for me, with webinars, that's doing webinars, sending out emails, sending out text messages, putting out different offers. That's seed sowing. I'm sowing seed constantly. Doesn't matter. I have a quota that I have for every day. Every day I'm going to do 5 outreaches every day. Doesn't matter where I'm at in the world, whatever I'm doing, 5 outreaches. I keep the seed mentality, mindset. I don't care. I don't care. We closed this amount of business. I don't care. I need to sow seed today, every day. I believe that if you always sow seed, you'll never ever have to worry about a harvest. You don't even need to think about a harvest. Harvest is automatic when you focus on the seed, sowing seed.
Yeah, beautiful. And I think what people should also understand is that if you are working on something great, there's always a waiting time.
That's it.
You'd always have to wait.
That's right.
An example is the Chinese bamboo tree.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you plant it today, and for years you see nothing.
That's right.
But when it starts coming, it goes really tall.
That's it.
And I think I said this in the seminar that we had.
Yeah.
That sometimes in business you can work for 10 years and you don't see any great success, but then 1 year can cover the entire 10 years.
That's it.
Sometimes it's even a month.
So true.
You know, so we just need to understand the waiting in business.
Right.
As long as we are working, we can wait.
100% agree.
David, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate you. And for the value you've given to our audience.
It's an honor.
I'm going to drop in the description exactly where you can find David. and all his stuff, Kingdom Social Media. You see all of that in the description. And then I'll also tag his YouTube account as well in the description. I'd like to say thank you so much for being part of the Connected Minds family. And once again, for the people that were there for the event, I appreciate you. And if you're not in the community, head to www.connectedacademy.com and get yourself in there, because that is where everything is happening. And to our connected champions, we appreciate you so much. My name is Derek Abaite. Stay connected. I'm out.